This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
First here on Fox 61, 2 Connecticut towns are ramping up police presence ahead of possible street takeovers this Labor Day weekend. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Brent Harden. Thanks for joining us. This after street takeovers have plagued a number of Connecticut cities and towns for months now. Fox 61's Jake Garcia is in studio with how police are preparing to respond in Manchester and Willimantic this holiday weekend. Jake.
Well, Brent and Sarah, both Manchester and Willimantic police departments are increasing their patrols this Labor Day weekend, not just for the holiday weekend, but for possible street takeovers. And both police departments are ready to prevent them from getting out of hand.
It's basically like a mini riot.
Street takeovers have been plaguing towns and cities across the state for months.
These individuals end up taking over a large space, a larger parking lot, in some cases a part of the public highway and an intersection and so forth, and don't allow people in or out of their circle. In some cases, people get trapped in it and then not letting law enforcement in.
This Labor Day weekend, both Willimantic and Manchester police departments are increasing their presence to avoid a takeover from happening. In a statement, a spokesperson for Manchester police say they have warned other police departments of similar events and are working to deter this from happening. Police learning of the potential planned takeovers via social media. The increase in patrols comes after a street takeover Monday night in Groton turned deadly. Drivers are encouraged to be vigilant and be safe.
Take a detour route, take a different route, call police. If you're in the middle of it, if you end up getting caught up inside it, I would call 911, especially if you feel like your safety's in jeopardy.
Police also urging drivers not to confront the group because it could put them in more danger. Local law enforcement are calling on lawmakers to do their part to prevent these from happening.
And I think it's time that we sit down with legislative bodies, and start coming up with something a little stricter, some stiffer penalties.
And encourage people not to participate in these events and enjoy the holiday responsibly.
Let's have a happy, safe weekend. We don't want to see anybody get hurt either. So just stay home and relax.
Now, police in these 2 towns are considering restricting access to some parks and plazas in order to keep these takeovers from forming. Now, police warn people driving illegal ATVs and dirt bikes that are often used in these takeovers will face a $1,000 fine for every ordinance violated. In the studio, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thank you, Jake. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rachel.
Hi, guys. Yeah, normally this is the time before a long weekend where I'm talking about which days are better than other for outdoor plans and activities, but we have our pick of the litter. Not only are we dry all through the weekend, but really through much of next week, which is something we didn't see very much of, dry weather this summer so far. Here's a look at the current temperatures. We're in the 50s to right around 60 degrees. Another refreshing evening out there. As we head towards daybreak, we'll see temperatures dropping back into the low to mid 50s inland and near 60 for the Connecticut shoreline. And tomorrow looks like a really beautiful day with lots of sunshine, low humidity, a few degrees warmer tomorrow than it was today with highs up around 80. If you like the more seasonable temperatures for early December, you're going to love Saturday. But summer making a comeback for both Sunday and for Monday on Labor Day itself with highs close to 90, and we have a potential heat wave on our hands with heat like that sticking around into next week. We'll take another look. Your full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, new here at 10. As the summer starts to wind down, Americans are taking advantage of the long weekend to squeeze in one last trip. Today was a busy travel day, both on the roads and in the sky. Fox 61's Gabby Molina is live in Madison tonight along I-95 with more. Gabby.
Sarah, those who are out on the roads now are really beating any type of traffic, especially earlier today. It was one of the busiest times this weekend to travel from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you're wondering what the least busy time is, that'll be really all day on Sunday. The unofficial end of summer is here.
They say this is the last weekend of summer. It is, but it's going to be 90 degrees in D.C. next week, so it's still going to be summer for me.
Jessica Silva made the drive from Washington, D.C. to visit her home state of Connecticut, one of many who chose to hit the roads for their Labor Day plans.
There has definitely been pockets of traffic, but the weather has been great, so that's been the real boost. That's helped a lot.
But like many others driving to their destinations, gas prices are a bit of a bummer. According to AAA, the national average is just about the same as this time last year, at $3.81. But prices have climbed higher than a month ago.
I've seen it starting to rise back up since it lowered. It's usually a tank and a half to get down and back.
Others chose to take to the skies for the long weekend. The Transportation Security Administration says it expects to screen more than 14 million passengers Labor Day weekend, with Friday marking the busiest day. Between long lines at the airport and slow-moving traffic, it has some travelers wishing there was another way to get where they're going. Like Ralph Reese, who just needs to make it across the Sound to get home.
We're from Long Island, and if I could, we live right there.
If you could just swim across, that'd be perfect.
Right, that'd be it, but there we are.
However you're getting to your plans, experts suggest planning ahead and leaving early, which leaves more time to enjoy the extra day off.
Make the most of this long weekend. Excited to not work.
Now, if you will be out on the roads at all this weekend, the Department of Transportation is reminding everyone to be safe and drive sober, saying that police departments around the state will be doing DUI enforcement this weekend. Live in Madison, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Yep, going to be a busy weekend. All right, we are following developing news tonight. United Healthcare is notifying some of its customers about what it's calling a data security incident. It happened back in December when UHC says an unauthorized third party got into a broker portal and gained access to certain pieces of personal information. The info that may have been accessed includes things like names and member ID numbers and healthcare plan types, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, and financial information, especially, was not stolen.
Cheshire police released new video tonight while they search for a driver accused of hitting a police cruiser with a stolen car. It happened 2 weeks ago at the Maplecroft Shopping Plaza. Officers believe the driver intentionally targeted officers. The stolen car was later found abandoned in a private lot in Wallingford. Take a look here. This is the video showing the suspect wiping his prints from the vehicle before running off. Cheshire police are asking anyone who recognizes him to give them a call.
Well, state police have arrested a man they believe robbed a bank in Mansfield. They say 38-year-old Robert Doyle robbed the Key Bank located on Stores Road. Doyle faces multiple charges, including robbery in the second degree and larceny in the third degree. He has had previous convictions in Connecticut, including for larceny. He's being held on a $250,000 bond tonight.
2 fires break out at the Naval Submarine Base in Groton this morning. It happened around 5. 2 unoccupied housing areas were fully engulfed in flames. The fires were knocked down by 6 in the morning. Officials say both buildings have extensive damage. There was no impact to the mission of the base. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fires are still under investigation.
To a real-life story now that sounds more like a movie. A Connecticut woman who claims to be able to see into the future tried to end a relative's life because she believed it was his time to die.
And that woman's now charged with attempted manslaughter. Fox 61's Matt Karen has the bizarre details in the newly unsealed warrant.
62-year-old Catherine Bleach claims she has a gift. She claims 3 years ago she had a premonition about when her relative was going to die. The two apparently made a mutual pact to end his life before that day came. This is the Ridgefield home of 62-year-old Catherine Bleach. This is the warrant for her arrest. Charged with attempted manslaughter, she turned herself in and admitted to helping a 65-year-old relative kill himself. But it was a botched attempt. According to the warrant, Catherine and the victim agreed it was time for him to die, to explore the next stage of the adventure. The victim told police he agreed, saying he accomplished everything he wanted to do in life. So Catherine allegedly purchased pills on the internet from Dubai, and on April 14th, the agreed-upon date, crushed up 125 tablets of the seizure medication into the relative's applesauce. After he ate it, they laid in bed together. According to the warrant, Catherine was surprised the next morning to find the victim still breathing. She told police she took it as a miracle and that God did not want him to die. So she called 911 to save his life. The victim told Ridgefield police both he and Catherine are devoutly religious with a strong belief in the afterlife. The victim said he even discussed his decision to end his life with his children. Across the nation, 10 states have aid in dying laws. Each year in Connecticut, there's a push at the Capitol to get physician-assisted suicide legislation across the finish line, but only for those with a terminal illness. Right now, there is no law allowing anyone to aid in a death, and the warrant reveals this victim only suffered from arthritis. Catherine Bleach paid her $150,000 bond and is currently on 24/7 house arrest, only able to leave her home to go to the doctor. If convicted, she could spend up to 10 years in prison. Reporting in Ridgefield, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.